What do you mean? Heroes, Greedon, and Bruce in the top 8. I don't get it. Again, what do you mean heroes? Heroes, Bruce, and Greedon. Well, Greedon I could understand, right? But then heroes and Bruce? A big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta, and today here with D-Point. As you can see, we are here with the deck profile of Bruce. I'll show you the deck. No, we'll do another video, I'll show you the combo. During the combo, you will see why this deck is so insanely strong. When it comes to Bruce, we have done so many videos about Bruce. You know us, you know me. I'm specialized in Spike Brothers and Bruce. When it comes to Bruce, there is so much to talk about, but we have talked about a lot. And when it comes to this deck, I've got the questions before we entered the tournament. People telling me like, D-Boy, are you really playing Bruce? I'm like, yeah, I am. And they would be like, why? Do you really think that Bruce could compete with a format of Nobitama with Shiranui and Luard and all the divine skills, and you really think that Bruce could compete with that? And I'm like, yeah, I do think so, yeah. And they looked at me in shock, like I'm crazy. But I don't get it. I mean, why should Bruce not compete with those decks? Could you tell me why? Because I don't know. The deck is very strong offensively, it's very good defensively, it's very consistent, and I don't really see a reason why the deck should not compete. So, all that being said, we have done lots of videos to talk about Bruce. We have talked about the deck during the different cards that we got and how the deck changed the transformation of the deck, as I like to call it. But we also talked about the combo that you do. Also talked about defensive capabilities of the deck. But again, we will show it again because hey, this is a top 8. So hey, top 8 comes the deck profile. Alright guys, here is one for the team. This top 8 is for you guys, for all of those Bruce lovers out there that love Bruce, you love to play Bruce, you're a Spike Brother fan and you want to play Bruce as well. Bruce is not a weak deck. It's a very strong and mean deck. It's so crazy that the opponent doesn't know what hit them while playing this deck or playing against this deck. For the right line, let's just jump into it. For the right line, it's very simple. You play your grade 3 Bruce, you play Richard, you play this thingy, and you play Steve, and you play a starter. Whatever starter you want to play, pretty much up to you. Nothing to explain here. There's no reason to make it a long video. So, yeah. This is the order I played, so that I could get them right away. You always play your right deck in beautiful sleeves, right? You have to play your right deck in beautiful sleeves. That's self-explanatory. Alright, then we come to the deck. When we come to the deck, we start with grade 4s, because we play grade 4 Bruce, under Unrivaled Bruce. So Unrivaled will play 3 copies. Why 3? Because 4 is too much, there is no reason, because you play 4 slicers, and if you go second, you would rather see Slicer than see Bruce, because you could go to Bruce right away. Going to Bruce right away is important, because not only you get an extra drive check, but all of your defensive cards are online, and that is very important. Also, you could pressure a little bit with your grade 2 Servant, because it goes into the soul, already fills the soul for you guys. So next turn when you go, you activate your Bryans, you have more than enough soul. So that's very important to have the Bruces in here. Why don't you play 2? Because if you go first, you would rather ride Bruce out of your hand. Also, your slicers still need to have your Bruce in your deck or your drop zone or whatever. Then we have your grade 3s. For your grade 3s, you play 4 dragons, 4 Marjories, and of course 4 Bryans. And that is, in my opinion, the best way to play the deck. Why? Because it makes it the most consistent. You want your Marjories to be your attackers. If not, then you have Servant. You want your Bryans because your Bryans are the ones that give your Vanguard a crit. And crit makes your Vanguard way more scary for your opponent to deal with. Your Dragons do actually everything. The same as Marjorie. The card is made for the deck. 15k shield on hand. Draw your card. Fill the soul. Well discarded, you draw a card. I mean, it's perfect, right? What do you need more? So 4 I think is the best way to go, and I don't see a reason to change it. For the grade 2s, and that's when things could get interesting, we play 2 Cyclers and 2 Servants. Servant is important as it is basically your attacker next to Marjorie. Also, if you go second, then you could put this card on the field right away, and it could help you with the hit pressure. Because attacking triple drive, you could get triggers, crits, especially crits, put it on this and attack with this again, and then sometimes they need to drop a PG to guard this attack. Well, your Vanguard attack is just a 13k, so sometimes they just put the 15k out there as a 2 to pass. Even with a triple drive, the 2 to pass still good. You're losing nothing, just 1 card. This card is important in the early game. I did not see the importance of this card till way later, as when you discard cards in the early game and your hand depletes, actually it does make a big difference to have cards like these that helps you with that. And having that extra card in the early game is actually made a bigger difference than I thought it would. So that's the reason why you play 2. You want to see her in the early game, don't want to see her in the late game. Guarding with her in the early game is also fine. Activating 1 copy of her in the game is perfect, because then you will draw a card into your final rush turn or your second final rush turn, which is good. Later than that, you don't want to draw cards anymore because you will deck out. Now we get to the grade 1s. Of course we play 4 PGs, it's very simple. There is no reason to play less, and we could not play anything else than a normal PG because we are grade 4. Then we play 4 copies of the Slicer. The Slicer helps with the consistency of the deck, but also being a good defensive card, such as your Bruce. And then we play 2 Cats. Nothing to explain about this. This one, again, there's nothing to explain. You need 4 for consistency, and it's just never a dead card. And then we play 2 Cats. Cats is a card that you could take 1 out. You could take 2 out. You could add 1 in, pretty much up to you. I like to having that good cat. It's a perfect number because it could help you to counter charge. It's never a dead card to call. This could be a dead card to call because you just call it, boost it, it goes to soul. But this could give you the counter charge that could help in the long run. But also defensively, it makes a big difference as it is a 20k shield. And that is very, very good. But sometimes actually it becomes a card that you discard in the early game if you don't have your energy cycler. And that is kind of sad. Then we also have, of course, our orders before we get to the triggers. For the orders, we play the 4 copies of Heellll Blast Full Dive, as I like to call it, Hell Dive, or Heellll Blast, or whatever. And we also add 1 copy of Angel Ladder. Now, this is not the best card to play in the deck. You could argue with me on taking the card out and playing Formido. Why? Because that card is actually made for the deck. Giving the opportunity to call a Marjorie and a Brian or a Dragon is perfect. Giving the opportunity to add Bruce to your hand if you don't have it is perfect. But this could give you that 1 soul that even by having 2 Marjories you don't have. So this actually could make a big difference. But most of the time it's against Nobitama Shiranui. That is the biggest difference why you play this card. If you play this against Shiranui, it's such a big difference for them to go down from 2 domination attacks and 2 more Vanguard attacks, so 4 less attacks. It becomes from a 7 attack deck to a 3 attack deck. And if you ask me, that's a big difference. So yeah, are there some other decks that this card does make it different against? A little bit. Sometimes against Greedon if they want to retire with the horse thingy, but not that big of a difference. Like mostly it's all about that. This is the card that I met the Greedon. This could retire, but mostly it's about playing as Nobutama. That's basically it. If you want to take it out to play this, I understand 100%, because this is good against all other decks. This is just good for the deck. This is very good for the deck. And you could argue even with this saving you 4 attacks, it's still this could be better. And I could agree with you on that. For me, for my playstyle, I feel like this fits me more, because it's just a card that you can play and just slow them down, and that's good. And then just call a cat, counter charge, and then go full combo again. I mean, it's good. It's very good. And then the turn after that they hit you, you still could hit them back, and you could defend, because that turn saved you cards. But if you want to play this, I understand. I like it. And for me, sometimes I choose for this and sometimes I choose for that. I think for now, the amount of Nobutamas that we are still seeing, I still think that this is the better choice, but it's up to you guys. And then we come by the next one, the next choice, and that's again the same. When it comes to the Heellls, I played 2-on-2. I played the tournament of Belgium that we got 8th in. We got the top 8, I mean. I played 3-on-1. The reason why I play this card in the deck is because you don't have 10k shields in this deck. So sometimes you already overguarding, and that 10k shield doesn't make a big difference. But when that 10k shield becomes a 25k shield, then it does make a difference. So keeping this card on hand against Nobutama is actually quite good. 3-on-1 is a little bit too much. 2-on-2, I feel like that is the better choice. But again, it's up to you to play this whatever you want. These are basically the 3 cards in the deck that you could change around to your liking. You could put vanillas in here, and that's fine. Or you could take this out and you could play this, and you could play this, and that's also fine. 4-bit doll. 4-bit doll. We play crits. We play the crit that goes to soul to give you the 2k. It's not about the 2k, it's all about that it goes to the soul to give you that 1 extra soul. And of course we play Bazooka Maisha. I will never take this card out of Bruce because she is made to play in Bruce. And then we play the 3 fronts. Draws are better, but you deck out. Fronts are perfect in the late game, so fronts. And for the overtrigger, we play the Dark State OT. Reasons why we play the Dark State OT is very simple. The thing is, when it comes to the overtrigger, you have a resending Vanguard, so you play the Dark State OT. It's as simple as that, actually. There is no more explanation. There is no reason to not play the Dark State OT in a deck that have a resending Vanguard. If you don't agree with me, then it's up to you. But what overtrigger would you like to play? You want to play blue OT? You could. Red OT is unplayable in this deck, so you can't. But you could argue with me on playing the blue OT. Getting something from the drop zone back to the hand does nothing in this deck, or not much, because you put lots of cards back to your soul, out of your soul, and there's no reason to do so. But having the crit that you could give to a Vanguard could sometimes be interesting, because your Vanguard already has lots of crits. But I think that the overtrigger from Dark State is made for restanding Vanguard decks, because then even if you get it like in the early game, of course you could use it later on, and that's also the strength of that overture. That is pretty much it for this deck. I will do another video where I'll show you the deck in action, and it will just be a game me playing against nothing. And with that, you will actually see a little bit of how this deck made it so far. Why is this deck so strong? That's it, guys. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in our channel. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the top. We'll see you soon in the next video with yet another top, maybe a medal, maybe the first place. So till next time.